How will you manage?
The perfect gift means that you totally get the other person in the most deep and paying attention-y way.
Honey, I don't think. Poor thing. Forgive me, boys. What are your brothers up to?
Not a thing. Which is weird. What are they up to? The hard part is trying to figure out what to give people when they don't write you a letter telling you exactly what they want most. And by people, I mean Jeremy. And by you, I mean me. And, no, the rest is pretty much literal.
Well, I'm sure Jeremy would get exactly what he wanted if he wrote his own letter to Santa.
Letters to Santa?
Wow,
That's our little kid.
he's lactose.
Wait, that's it. I'll trick Jeremy into writing a letter to Santa so I can sneak a peek and learn what he wants straight from the horse's mouth. And by mouth, I mean pen. And by horse, I mean Jeremy. And yeah, we're good.
Or you can ask him directly what he wants to avoid any unnecessary complications.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will get started in just a couple of minutes. Get comfy, grab a hot cocoa, smash out the like.
Hi, welcome back. I'm certainly glad you could spend a little time with us today and do a fantastic little painting. So I tell you what, let's get started. And I thought they would do a little mountain winter scene, something. Well, let's just do it and see what happens, okay? With the old 2-inch brush today. Go right into a small amount of titanium white. As I've mentioned before, these black canvases are fantastic if you want to amaze friends and relatives and etc. because they don't see you put the color on top of the black. It is transparent. And then when you come in here and you add a little bit of white, just all kinds of beautiful little things just happen. Behind the clouds. We'll do that first. Then we'll come in and we'll drop in a happy little cloud here and there. I like these black canvases because a little bit of color shows up so strong and so beautiful. It's unreal what you can do with them. Unreal. You know, I get letters from people every day And they send me photographs of the paintings that they're doing at home. This is from people that a lot of them have never had, they've never even suspected they had any art talent. They've never had any lessons. They just watched the shows, picked up ideas, got enough confidence, grabbed the old brush, and they're doing some beautiful paintings. And you can too. You really can. Let's wash the brush.
Akira. Merry Christmas.
I think we're going to get it started. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Den of Nerds Live. Welcome to this stream. Very happy to be here with you all. Today's a special day. I'm very happy to team up with Paul from Heavy Spoilers and a bunch of different awesome content creators for the Deck the Halls of Justice day of streaming to raise money for a good cause, suicide awareness, and suicide prevention. Which I don't have to tell you guys. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for Zack. It's a big deal for the Snyder Cut movement. I think it's a big deal in this moment, considering all of the levels of stress and anxiety that people are dealing with around the world. Yeah, I'm happy to join up with all these people and try to raise a little bit of money to try to make a difference. And so let's get this started. And I'm very happy to welcome Paul to Nerdvengers Tower and to the bar down here in the lounge. It's good to see you, man. How are you? Uh-oh, Paul might still be muted. Oh, there he is. What's up, brother? Can you hear me okay? Are you delayed? Uh-oh. We might have a European internet issue.
No, I didn't have my headphones turned on properly, so
there
I couldn't
it
hear
is.
you.
We're good now.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm just sitting here going, where the hell is this guy? I've been waiting here all night and he ain't turned up.
Right? Cheers, mate. Cheers. How are you?
Yeah, it's good to be sat here with you.
The magic of the interwebs, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we've just went into a big lockdown in the UK, but I'm glad that we've managed to meet up like
this. The digital world has slightly different social distancing rules, so that's very nice. So I'm very I'm very happy to sit here with you digitally as well. So for the
all the bars in the world.
There you go. So for those that don't know, obviously, Paul, I think the Heavy Spoiler channel is massive, and I think you've got a ton of different people that watch you break down spoilers, make sense of movies like Tenet, do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, if you don't know, go check out Paul's channel if you've never heard of Heavy Spoilers.
What do you mean you haven't heard
exactly.
of me?
He's out of here. So I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure most people know about you. So here's the way this is going to go, guys. I want to make a couple of disclaimers before we get too far into this, okay? Number one, today is not about the tea, even though we're going to talk tea. Today is actually about the good cause and just giving money to a good cause, trying to help out, putting the positive energy out there. So I don't want people to get too fixated on what we're going to say, what we're not going to say. I mean, the truth is we're just some dudes. We hear things, and because of the platforms that we have, sometimes people reach out. Sometimes we know that it's real. Sometimes we don't. So we're going to talk about all the tea and mix in some things that, you know, maybe we're really solid on, maybe some things we're not super solid on. Regardless, today is about fun. I will share some drama and some funny things like that from behind the scenes. And also, if you guys have a specific question about a big spoiler or about a big thing, maybe a project, the future of DC, the future of Marvel, go ahead and put it into the chat as a super chat. And then we will go over it, and that money goes to charity. So the portion that we have from the Super Chats after YouTube takes it away, that all goes to the charity. If you'd like to donate directly to the charity, there is a pinned link on the chat. And so don't feel as though you have to go through the YouTube system if you do not want to. And then I think we should start with just kind of talking about the Snyder Cut for a little bit. Before we get into Super Chats, I was thinking we could do like 20 minutes, a half hour, Paul, of just kind of talking Snyder Cut, talking about the whole experience of watching this thing happen this year. And then that'll give enough people to trickle in. We'll get a list of questions, and then we'll start to go through it from there. Does that seem okay?
Definitely, and I'm wearing this jumper, this Christmas jumper with a Batman symbol on to get us started with that. Now, let's start at the beginning of the Snyder Cut. So, you know, unlike the amazing theatrical cut of Justice League, you don't open with Henry Cavill anymore. There's that. Get that mustache thing out your head, because it starts off with the Darkseid War, from what I hear, and apparently the opening shot of the Snyder Cut trailer is actually what opens the movie, with Darkseid's boom hammer coming down. Lets you know straight away, this isn't your Justice League, mate. This is Darkseid, and he's here. He's finally in the DCEU. Shut the hell up and watch.
Man,
and then from there, I hope you don't mind me taking over.
I'm about to shut up and listen. Please go.
Yeah. And from there, what I've heard, instead of opening on you get the big war with all the Green Lanterns in, you get Ares, Zeus is in there, all the gods of old fighting Darkseid. They manage to beat him. Steppenwolf kind of gets cast to the side, like, you're crap, you mate. You were meant to be my best friend in this war, and I can't do the Darkseid voice, but he's going, you're crap, you mate. Nice. Get the hell out of here. You're not one of my mates anymore. And Steppenwolf's whole drive is basically like, well, if I can take Earth over, then I'll win good favor with Darkseid again, and we'll all be good.
That makes a lot more sense than whatever the hell the explanation was originally. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And then you don't go to Batman on a rooftop fighting that guy from Mindhunter, which was an alright scene, wasn't it? But it wasn't good, was it? You cut straight to Bruce going for Aquaman. So you don't have that bit where he's on the rooftop completely clean shaven, and then the next scene he's got a massive beard. Doesn't make sense. That plane must have taken a long time to get there.
Or he has one superpower that is actually useless, and it's like Santa from the freaking No, but go on. Yeah, keep taking us through, man. This is good.
Okay. And then he goes to Aquaman. He's like, you all right, mate? I'm starting a team. I found Lex Luthor's journal. It's got loads of stuff in there about parademons and that, a bit worrying. Apparently, the last movie, he was talking to some alien from space, and he was coming to kill us all. So I'm a bit worried. Come to see how you're doing. Here you can talk to fish. And then he gives the old wink. And everyone goes, remember that bit from the original trailer? And then Bruce goes back to Gotham because Aquaman's like, nah, mate, soz. I like just swimming in the ocean and being in Game of Thrones. And he goes, all right, fair enough. Who are you going out with in that? And he's like, I was going out with Amelia Clark. And he's like, fair enough, she's pretty hot. So then he goes back. Wonder Woman, she goes to the bombers in London. Do you know that bit in Justice League that I never understood? Right, so these bombers, they're suicide bombers, and they want to blow up this whole museum. Why do they set a timer? Because you know how they press the button for the timer, and then Wonder Woman comes in, manages to beat them all up before it goes off. Why set a timer? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that actually goes off apparently in the Snyder Cut. And you might remember from the the original trailers.
Yeah,
that there
doesn't
was
she
an
like throw it up in the
explosion
air
London
or
with,
something?
SWAT.
Something like that.
Well, there was SWAT team members outside of it. She manages to save some people, but some other ones die apparently. Meanwhile, in the background, you're getting Junkie XL score the whole time, and though everyone's having a really bad time in London, you know, you still headbutting away because you're like, oh, this is so good. Yeah, and then it cuts to the Flash, saving Iris West. Kirstie Clemens is obviously playing her. Little bit of an Easter egg in the trailer. You see Flash's feet turn, don't you? When he's really slow, and then in the next scene when he picks up Iris, he's got no shoes on, and that's because he's so fast that his shoes actually
burn off.
They just burn off, and that's why he needs the suit. That's why he needs the suit.
That is really cool. Yeah.
And then that's a nice
it
little
is,
detail, isn't it? And then we go to the Daily Planet, and Martha and Lois kind of discussing Clark's death. And Martha brings up that she's being evicted. And then Lois goes to Heroes Park, and we get a full scene involving the Jimmy Olsen actor, Mark McClure, who was playing a policeman at Heroes Park. And you might remember in the original trailer, there's a tank flying towards him. Cyborg shoulder barges into it and goes, you should probably move. So that's that character. He's sort of a cop at Heroes Park, and he played Jimmy Olsen in the original Superman movies. But in the Justice Cut, he was, you know, when Flash went to the prison to see his dad, he signed in. He was the policeman.
Oh, really? That's interesting. And so now they're kind of making him a little bit more significant. So I guess the real quick question on that, wasn't Jimmy Olsen the CIA operative at the beginning of BVS, or are they just totally scrapping that?
It's not. It's basically Jimmy Olsen from the 1970s Superman movies doing a cameo.
Okay,
he's coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's playing a different. He's not playing Jimmy Olsen. He's playing a policeman, but it's the same actor.
Okay, gotcha.
They're just giving a little bit of a tribute. Yep. Yeah. So he's like, "Wow, you sure do seem to come here a lot. You always bring me coffee as well," because Lois is a nice person. She brings him coffee. And then you get a bit of an origin story for Cyborg. You see his life as a football star. He wins the game. He looks into the audience. His mother's there cheering. Dad's not there. So they're like, "Oh man, why is my dad always doing this? You know, I've won this game. I'm the big star, and he's not here to see it." They drive home, have a bit of an argument in the car. Victor gets very angry. His mother actually crashes the car. She dies. Victor gets saved by his father, who then brings him back to life. And so he kind of resents his dad for killing his mother almost, and making him into this monster. So it's a lot more kind of...
And like an actual character.
There's a lot,
That'll be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that kind of ties into the Batman v Superman scene. And then we cut to the Batcave. Bruce and Diana are there discussing the rejection of Aquaman. You might remember from the original trailer, they were both sitting in the Batcave, and they go, "He said no." He goes, "He said no."
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah, I remember from one of the trailers. Yeah. Yeah,
and then cut back to Cyborg. Oh, sorry. They discover that parademons are kidnapping people, and we cut to Cyborg, who picks up this knowledge from the Batcave. So he kind of intercepts it that parademons are kidnapping people, and then he starts to go through his powers. Realizes he can control loads of weapons worldwide. He can fly, and he has access to all this power. He could easily.
Is that where the scene with the
nukes he has
comes from? Is that like cool?
Yeah. When he swipes, but he says, "You know what? I don't want this power." Swipes it to the side, decides to remain human. Okay. So another bit more.
I'm excited to see that because I really like the ways Zack is very good with the visuals. And a scene like that is going to be really cool because it's like a character moment, but it's sort of a character moment that plays out in this very bombastic, kind of exciting, visual way. That seems dope to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. I'll say to everybody
better.
that's coming in a little bit late right now.
Keep going. You say the questions
Yes.
as well.
Well, next, just so everybody knows, we're gonna go over the all the super chats in like 20 minutes or something like that. We'll have time. But right now, Paul is literally taking us through deep spoilers for the Snyder Cut. So buckle up, baby. This is what again, third floor. Yeah, for legal purposes. So for legal purposes, third floor basement, ladies and gentlemen. We have zero sources. We're just two guys on the internet. We have no idea what we're talking about. All right, keep going. Spoil this shit.
Yeah, so Victor's doing his stuff. He discovers his arm cannon, and you might remember in the original trailer that it was in his house, and there was Silas Stone was there, and there was a parademon that popped up in the corner of the room, looking very, very scary. That was actually looking for the mother box, and it takes Silas. Cyborg arrives just as the parademon's busting out with Silas, and that's the shot when it's kind of looking down and he's looking out the window like that, and it's broken. And that's him seeing his dad getting taken off. And he's like, oh, I hate that guy, but he's my dad. And he's the only family I've got left. So I've kind of got to do it. And then we cut to Steppenwolf stealing the first mother box from the Amazonians. Kind of, that scene. It's just the design of Steppenwolf's a bit different. He also says that this is where he does the line, no lanterns, no Kryptonians.
Was that line in the original movie? Or was it just used in marketing? Dude, no, that line is great.
Just a trailer. So good, yeah, so good. And that kind of ties back to the opening of the movie as well, because the lanterns were obviously a big part of that fight. So the gods are gone. The lanterns are gone. It's just the Amazonian warriors that are left, which, there was a big army fighting Steppenwolf and Darkseid's forces at the start. Whereas here, there's no lanterns, no Kryptonians. He's got a bit of an easier ride. So he explains the unity and then takes the box, makes his way to Atlantis. And this is when the Amazonians send a warning to Diana, and she rejoins Bruce to tell Steppenwolf, talks about how all the mother boxes were buried. And that's kind of it for the middle part. And then, they seek out to find Cyborg. Steppenwolf continues his attack on Atlantis. He's joined by parademons this time, which distract Aquaman, and he attains the mother box. After this, it's actually Willem Dafoe, not Mira, that discusses Steppenwolf with Aquaman. And we've seen those shots as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Mira is in this scene. It's kind of a bit sketchy from what I've heard, but apparently it's Willem Dafoe who. So
I'll tell you And this is why. One quick point is that I think with the Amber Heard thing, they're likely taking the same strategy that they're doing in Aquaman 2, whereas they will probably shoot multiple versions of that scene, one with her and maybe some without, because I think they just want, like, if it gets crazier, if it gets any worse, they want to be able to pull out. So that's just something in my mind. I would imagine they'd probably approach it that way. Yeah,
probably. I would guess so. But that kind of sets up his relationship with Aquaman, so that when we go to Aquaman and Mira arrives to kind of recruit him for Atlantis, and he's a bit shaky on it, he's not that trusting of him, whereas when he meets Willem Dafoe again, he's kind of like, all right, okay.
Because that's my...
right.
I'm okay, that makes sense.
That's my homie. Yeah. Then parademons, blah, blah, blah. I'm just reading my notes here, and that's when they go to Gotham Harbor, and the big underground tunnel fight scene happens. It plays out sort of the same bit of extended dialogue, not as many like comedic lines, no Flash line on Wonder Woman's boobs and stuff. And they get their butt handed to them basically, and they're like, "Oh man, like what are we gonna do? We need to bring Superman back. We need to bring the guy back." And then Lois wakes up in the bed, reminisces over the good times that she had with Clark, and it just kind of, you can see that the heroes need Superman, Lois needs Superman.
We need
as well.
Superman.
So
I need Superman. Yeah,
exactly. She writes a little news article. I need you back wherever you are. Flashback to the Batcave. Bruce studies Superman's costume with a hologram. Cyborg discovers the origins of the Mother Box and how it was dug up in World War II. And this kind of tied into the deleted scenes in Wonder Woman. That I don't know if you've seen them. They were on the special features. There was a was going to be a post-credit scene where they talk.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I had heard too. Just as a side note, I'll throw a little bit of flavor in there. One of the big things, and everybody should take time to watch the other streams today. Ray Fisher's going to be on one of the streams, and then Zach himself is going to be on one of the streams later today. And so it's so cool to even be associated with this and have our names attached to it. But like when it comes to Zach and Ray and the whole movement, a lot of the issues come from the studio interference. And when it comes to Wonder Woman, that third act was altered heavily by the studio, just like the Ayer cut was. And this all happened after Batman v Superman, right? So they go in there and they start tinkering. And so that third act was, basically a complete Jeff Johns kind of rewrite. So I'd be interested if any of the deleted scenes you're talking about, were they third act stuff or? Yeah.
I really don't know. This is just kind of what I've picked. And, Ray and Zach might say I'm talking a lot of crap. That's fine. This is just what I've picked up over the years. And then with it playing in the trailer, I've thought, well, there might be some legitimacy to this. But this is just what I've heard. Well, we're just going to be talking about what we've heard.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah. I just thought it might be interesting to note that, hey, look, all of this tracks to me. So what you're saying makes complete sense. Like, if there was going to be, because the general story here, guys, is that as DC went away from Zack's vision, they abandoned all the connective tissue that Zack and the team wanted. And this is across the board. This is in Wonder Woman. This is in Suicide Squad. This is in even maybe Birds of Prey down the line. There could have been connective tissue there, and the studio shut it down. And things that Zack have said track with this, things that Ray have said track with this. So what you're saying to me makes complete sense and lines up with everything I've heard.
Yeah, and then in the cave, they actually explain, after scanning Superman, they actually explain why he's able to be revived and not be like Doomsday. And that is because he has the growth codex inside of him, which actually stops his cells from destabilizing. So with Doomsday, we saw, well, when they tried to resurrect Zod, that he turned into this big monster. That didn't happen with Clark, and that's because he had the growth codex inside of him. And what I heard was that originally in Man of Steel, they were actually going to set up that he was carrying that and that it would lead to creating the anti-life equation. So down the line in Justice League Part 2, Darkseid would actually capture Superman. And when we see the evil Superman, it's because he's working with Darkseid. And that from him, they've managed to create the anti-life equation.
That makes so much sense. So you take the Kryptonian Codex and sort of reverse engineer it to make the anti-life. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, sure. It might not be true, but I was reading it and thinking, that makes sense. So they go dig him up, revive him. They have the battle at Heroes Park. This fight actually involves the military, which is why the tanks show up. And they're kind of, everyone's trying to take down Superman because of his revival. There's no tell me do you bleed bit. Lois, who we already set up in the movie that Lois visits this every day. So she's passing at this time, and she turns around and hears the fight, which we saw in the trailer when she was walking along the street and turns around and was like, oh. She goes to Heroes Park. Superman sees her, and that's when he's like, oh, I need to stop having a fight here. Takes her away. They have that scene in the... Sorry, I'm just fixing myself.
You're in the bar, man. Look, it's too early. The bartenders aren't even in here, so we got to serve ourselves. So it's all good.
Yeah, so they basically do similar to what Joss Whedon had. I think a lot of people will agree that bar the CGI scene, that bit with Superman and Lois in the cornfield was quite good. That was probably the most human moment of the film. And they sort of do that, but there's no stupid mouth. It's more in line with the third trailer I think we got that opened with that scene. Might not be that trailer, but there was one of the trailers opened with that scene. And it's more sort of in line with that. They discuss their engagement, a lot more character development, and Clark and Lois are the heart of this trilogy. I think, they were the heart of Man of Steel. Batman v Superman was kind of, Bruce was off doing his own thing. He didn't really have a relationship with anyone outside of sort of, Diana and Alfred. But the real heart of that film was Lois and Clark kind of bearing this burden of being the world's savior.
Yeah.
He's died. He's come back. Lois doesn't really want to let him go, but she has to save the world. Clark's like, oh, no, this is a heavy
what's
burden.
funny about that too is that it makes sense in the, if you think about how even in BVS or whatever, when Flash comes back and says she's the key to everything, and he's talking to Bruce, that kind of makes the whole thing make sense, right? So apparently, from what I've heard, in the nightmare reality, Lois is gone. So Lois is done, and that's what snaps Clark, right? And so that's part of the whole thing, which makes sense what you're saying. Like, with those two being the heart of the film, it makes sense from sort of the good side of the story, but also from the conflict side of the story. So, yeah, man, this is cool. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, so they go back to the Batcave. Bruce is like, oh, another plan failed. This is where Alfred humorously mocks them with a sarcastic British tone that everyone loves. If you look on YouTube, that scene's about where Flash hugs Alfred and stuff. They then go on their journey to unbox Steppenwolf. It's a lot better, though. Batman arms up the members. Aquaman says, honestly, I think we're all going to die, which in the Justice League version was, I don't want to die. Cyborg kind of laid out the strategy here, which made him a lot more integral to the team. And they really bonded, thinking, this is going to be our last day on Earth, potentially. Superman, meanwhile, goes to the ship for his black suit. And then he goes to Alfred. Like, where is everyone? I'm here. I'll need. Where are they? He sends them. Final battle, sort of, the outcome's the same. But bar how Steppenwolf dies, which is he gets impaled by Aquaman's trident, and then Wonder Woman cuts him.
Yeah, I think I heard about that too. Yeah,
that's
what I've heard. Yeah,
about, and then his head rolls through the boom tube.
Yes. Cut
to the other side. Darkseid's foot stops it, and they look through the boom tube and they go, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Who are you, mate?" They go, "Oh, I'm coming for you." And they go, "Oh man, we just opened up a whole lot of trouble."
Ding, round two. Yeah.
But there was a scene in which Cyborg was putting together the mother boxes, and he got a flash through of what would happen if the Unity was complete, and that showed the Nightmare version again, and Darkseid also popped up in that. And then we go to the end of the movie, which is apparently Flash is working on the cosmic treadmill, which sort of sets up how he can travel through time. Mira travels to land to bring back Aquaman to Atlantis, which kind of skips over bits in in his solo movie. Bruce awakens at night to be greeted by a Green Lantern. I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard a lot of conflicting things on that. I have heard that Martian Manhunter's in it, though. And General Swanwick's going to be playing him. And then Diana can be found exploring the caves and trying to unearth the meaning behind Darkseid and what's going to be coming, which is when we get her with the torch and she comes across
That's going to be sweet. Yeah.
Darkseid symbol. Yeah. And then apparently it cuts to the nightmare scene, which I've heard a lot about.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's what they're filming
so
now.
To add to So to add to some of that, and just to give context, and guys, just so you know, what we're going to do is in a little bit here, we're going to start just going through your questions. We'll talk about spoilers for Marvel. We'll talk about spoilers for Star Wars, all kinds of stuff. Whatever you guys want to know about, you lead the conversation. So drop a super chat in. This whole thing is about going to charity today. We're doing the push for the Deck the Hall event. If you don't know what the hell is going on, and you're like, why is Josh streaming on a Sunday, early? That's why. So we'll get into that in just a second. Now, the thing I find so interesting, Paul, about the Snyder Cut is that I think the one thing that's pretty clear is that he is changing the film from its original version to what it will be now. And although there might not be a ton of changes, I've been told a lot of things about the original version that he had, right? So the original version. Now the DCU is different. The world is different. Zack is different. Everybody's different. And so I think they're changing some things because in the original version, I believe the last scene in the movie is Flash coming back and meeting either the other Flash or Bruce and being like, dude, we are screwed. It's over in the future and we have to go back. You know what I mean? And like, we have to stop things. We have to fix things like that. And so I think Zack sort of took this idea that he originally had and with the new film is injecting a lot of fun and a lot of flavor, like the Green Lantern thing, who I have heard is absolutely going to be Ryan Reynolds. Absolutely going to be Ryan Reynolds. Okay. And the Martian Manhunter and some of these other characters like Jared Leto Joker will be in the film and likely will be used as sort of in the way that The Mandalorian did a great job with this season where they put in these bombshells that everybody talks about each week, right? And if they stick to the 4 episode thing, which I think they're actually they keep going back and forth on that from what I hear. If they stick to the episodes, it will make sense to have a juicy thing each week to get people talking and to have people talking on social. So I wonder, like, have you heard anything about that or what do you think about the episodes?
I think they should stick to episodes. I think Mandalorian's shown that works a lot better as a format for getting people interested in coming back every week. It also, they're working with a streaming service based on a subscription model. So you want to keep people subscribed for as long as possible. So if you say people, well, they've got rid of the trial on HBO Max now, but say you had a trial and people would just watch the whole thing in one day and then cancel their trial. So I think it does make more sense to keep people coming back. It keeps the platform more active. We did see over the last year that the Disney Plus didn't have any content.
And did fine.
And they
did okay.
I didn't think.
Yeah.
But imagine if they'd had what they're doing 2021, which is where they've got WandaVision, bit of a break, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, bit of a break, Loki, bit of a break. People are just going to keep watching. They're not going to cancel their subscription. They'll just keep watching. And I think the longer you drag things out is probably the smarter move business-wise. And I think there's going to be a lot more teasers at the end of the episodes. So what we talked about today is what I heard was originally the outline of the movie. Obviously, a TV show is completely different. You need to kind of edit things differently and have it so it ends on a sort of cliffhanger or a tease of next time. And I've heard Deathstroke's going to be used in a way like that. And they're just going to kind of bring more things in to sort of keep people coming back every week and not just being like, well, I've seen this movie, just a couple of different scenes.
Yeah, let me ask you this before we get into the questions and stuff. Let's talk about Ben Affleck as Batman. How was it for you covering this whole situation? Because for me, I'll just speak for myself. I've never gotten resistance like I got when I was talking about the Ben Affleck news. And for me, there was a lot of reasons why I think that happened. But yeah, what was your experience like that with that?
So did you say he was coming back with that?
Yep. I said, so here's what happened. I got reached out to by Cultured Nerd and, so I covered a video by Matthew from the Lightcast podcast and Taylor from Cultured Nerd, who are streaming. They're a part of the Deck the Halls event later in the day. And then I had a private conversation with them where they showed me some things and they showed me some things, brother. And you know what that's like. So I was like, oh, he coming back. And then, I got,
You went from nah to in one screenshot.
Exactly. So what was it like for you covering that?
So I said that he wasn't coming back, and I probably just got about as much backlash as you did, to be honest. I didn't have any private conversations with anyone. I just kind of went, well, Ben said he's not coming back. They've cast Robert Pattinson as Batman, so I don't know for definite, but I don't think he's coming back. Would love to see him back. love his version of Batman. Think it's probably my favorite, but I didn't see him coming back. And then when he did, I was like, oh, okay, I'm wrong. Happy to be wrong. Glad he's back. But yeah, I probably got as much backlash.
Isn't that interesting how the internet works? It's like all the people they found both of us. All the people that wanted a bitch, like, you know, like they found both of us. Yeah, it's funny, man. So my personal take on this, and this goes into stuff like today is about love, today's about joy, today's about positive things, and so I will not be lingering on anything negative. But I will just say that it is. Look, all the Snyder Cut fans know what it is. It was the establishment wing of Warner Media that was associated with Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon that was literally putting out fake stories and trying to cover stuff up because although Ben wants to come back and you know, he's signed now for Snyder Cut, I actually think he's signed for more than that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair point. Yeah. So he's signed for 2, which people thought would never happen. And I remember when the Flash thing happened and people were like, oh, okay, but it's just going to be that. And then he signs to come back for Snyder Cut and people were like, oh, okay, but it's just going to be that, right? So I think he's actually signed the whole way. And I think they'll announce that later today on one of the streams. But I don't know for sure, hoping that happens. Regardless, there was a moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, where Warner Media was looking out into the wild of social media and trying to get a sense of how badly people wanted this to happen. And any water that could get thrown on that fire was leverage for the people that didn't want it to happen to try to make it not happen. And so, Paul, man, when I tell you I've never been hit up like this before from some trade journalists, right? I have friends that write for the trades hitting me up and being like, brother, don't you be spreading that Ben Affleck Batman shit around here.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? Like, what's happening here? You know? It was crazy.
Yeah. And I was one of those people.
You probably were.
Slagging you up. No, I was just like, I'll never like dig down on a scoop and be like, I'm telling you, I was just like, look, I don't think it's happening. He said he's not coming back. Robert Pattinson's been cast. Can we just accept it and move on? But I'm glad that no one has moved on and that it did happen because, you know, I love the guy and I'm glad he's back. I just didn't see it being possible. Sure. And I've with the Mandalorian leaks, I had like 3 days of that just getting abuse all the time. Saying I was.
You want to talk about that? I came at you. Do you remember? Talk about slag. I came at you. So I came at Paul on social media. Yeah, this is how we started talking.
So we actually got talking about him.
So that's the American way, by the way. I was like, who's this freaking Brit? Yeah.
You
I was
dumb idiot.
Yeah. And so, we connected that way. It's so funny. So let me ask you this. Do you think Batfleck Deathstroke, the series or the project, it's the biggest rumored thing. It was so rumored to be what Ben was originally working on as his Batman movie. They did that screen test on the set of Justice League, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's happening?
I honestly think that there's been talks about it, but I don't think anything's been 100% put through. And I think a lot of it is relying on the Snyder Cut and the success of that. I think they've got things in motion, they've got things in place. But I don't think that anything is 100% nailed down.
Yeah, so I'd agree with that. From what I've heard, Ben wants to do it, the studio wants to do it, but because the subscription numbers for HBO Max didn't like blow everybody away, and they're kind of behind, or at least they were, they couldn't greenlight it. Like, it just didn't make sense for them to greenlight it if they didn't have the cash flow coming in from HBO Max. And so, strangely enough, man, I think Jason Kilar made a very bold move. And when he said all of our movies are coming straight to streaming and jacked up their subscription numbers, I think it was in service to do this. I think it was so that he could then get it green lit. You know what I mean? Because he needs to make it make sense on the financials. And so I think Batfleck Deathstroke will be announced, if not today, very soon and around the time of the Snyder Cut, because I think that it was one of those things where they couldn't, oh, this is funny. They couldn't justify it, Paul. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Man. So, interesting stuff, huh? Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's get into some Q&A, guys.
I don't think Warner Brothers know for definite.
What's up, brother?
Definite.
You don't think Warner Brothers what?
I don't think Warner Bros. know for
No, I think,
what's
yeah.
happening. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see today.
true. And we'll see today. We've got a long day of streams and a lot of cool info will be shared throughout the day. And then I would say probably around the time of I think in March, around the time of the Snyder Cut, you're going to see a lot of things announced. I think it's possible the Ayer Cut gets announced. I think it's possible the Batman Deathstroke stuff gets announced because they want to ride that momentum. Look, we are in the streaming wars. What did Disney just do? They literally just came out and said, we're making a bajillion things and putting them all on HBO or Disney Plus. So what does Warner want to do? They want to do the same thing. So I think they're gonna, trust me, they want to do it. I think we'll do it. Mike Porter comes in with the $20 hauler. Thank you so much. Says, spill thy tea. Give me some MCU news. Let me think about something I can give MCU wise. Do you have any juicy MCU stuff, Paul? Anything?
I've heard how Spider-Man 3 ends.
Okay, well, how about this? You better give me 1 second because I got to fill up my coffee because this is something I actually want to hear. So give me 1 second.
Okay. You have a lovely coffee there. But this is what I've heard. Don't know if it's true. I'm just staying on the stream. And you know what? Thank you, everyone, for donating so far. It's been really good seeing all these things pop in. I'm sorry we haven't answered all the questions.
Yeah, we're gonna get on it right now, guys, and we got about an hour more of the stream, so we're getting into big time spoilers. So, Paul, tell me, Toby dies. What happens?
Okay, so, well, obviously we know they're all in it.
If you're here and you're like, wait, are they really in it? You're kind of behind. It's okay, but you're kind of behind. They're definitely in it.
They're not bringing these villains across. They're not bringing Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2 across for to not have Toby. You know what I mean? That it does make sense. Like, why would he be there? But they're all in it, and the movie. So the way that WandaVision, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man 3 is going to work is that they're all connected together, and they kind of lead into each other bit by bit. Now, from what I've heard, Doctor Strange actually casts a spell to make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
That is from the comics. That's straight up from the other. Okay, so there is. Oh, keep going. I'll geek out afterwards. Sorry.
But what it does is it completely wrecks the multiverse. It just splits everything off. And as was set up in Doctor Strange, you mess with the time stone, you can create parallel realities. There's a cost to using magic. So Doctor Strange doing this causes a lot of issues, and that's basically what happens. And that's why Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man 3. So he, of course, brings across the other characters, but he also kind of sets up his movie. And they did even say, I'm sure, at the Disney Investor event that WandaVision, Spider-Man 3, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness were all sort of going to be connected together.
No, that is well.
I don't know if they said it at the Investor Day, but they have.
I don't know if they've made that official, but that's pretty well established from a lot of kind of insiders and stuff. Is that's the way that more or less a trilogy is going to go. I actually think even Loki will kind of help to establish some of the rules and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
definitely.
Dude, so that is nuts. So let me geek out about that for just a second because.
I don't.
Yeah, of course.
It's true.
Third floor third floor basement. This is all you got to repeat, Paul. Trust me, I've been through this. Third floor basement. I have zero sources. I often like to say I have a below average intelligence. You know what I mean? And just look, disclaimer. This is all for charity. Everybody chill out. Now, that blows me away, brother, because one of my favorite runs in the Spider-Man was actually, it wasn't Amazing Spider-Man. I believe it was called Spectacular Spider-Man, but it was essentially this little mini run with this character called the Other, and the Other, Oh, actually, I'm getting my stories mixed up. Actually, Doc Strange does that spell after Civil War, actually, to get the whole world to forget about who Peter is. So now that I've known that, I should probably shut up about the other. But the other's a great story, and you should check it out. Yeah. But that makes sense.
Because Spider-Man reveals his identity in Civil War, doesn't he? It's like he's Tony Stark. Like he's Spider-Man. He's like, oh crap.
Yup. And then that spell gets them all to forget it, which is so funny because I thought that was going to be the way. And then there's all this talk of what they're going to do on the Sony side, right? There's the Madam Web movie that's rumored. There's a lot of stuff that's rumored on where they will then take that, because I don't know if you know the sort of the newest bits are suggesting that they have renegotiated the deal and that Tom Holland will be Spider-Man in the MCU probably forever. And the whole idea is like, give Sony back Toby and Andrew. They don't actually need Tom in their universe to make it work because they actually have a multiverse. You know what I mean? So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Tim says, for the people with the $2 holla. Stephen J coming at us with a $10. Thank you so much. Cole says, well, Josh, you put him in the thumbnail, so what are the odds we get John Krasinski as Reed Richards? Give us that sweet MCU spoiler tea. What do you think about John Krasinski, Paul? And then I'll tell you what I think.
I think it'll happen. Probably.
Yeah. I don't know if he will be...
It's the obvious choice, but yeah. Did he? Was it not said earlier this year that he and Emily had been speaking to Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my gut tells me that he will show up as Captain America, and that he will, will play actually Hydra Cap. Now the Hydra Cap thing is something I added on from speculation. Yeah, the Cap thing that I heard is from actual sources. And the whole idea is we have thought for a long time that, he would play Reed. He's fan casted for it or whatever. But if you think about the timing of the meeting that Feige supposedly had with him, it was right around the time where he met with one Hugh Jackman, right around the time where he met with one Sir Patrick Stewart, likely right around the time that he met with one Charlie Cox, and et cetera, et cetera. And if you see where this is going, the whole idea is that what Feige wants to do is set up a absurd multiverse version of the MCU. And I think what he'll do is he'll have Joaquin Phoenix as Doc Strange. He'll have Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise will be Tony Stark yelling at all the people on the set.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Hugh Jackman will be Wolverine. John Krasinski will be Cap. Emily Blunt will be Black Widow. And actually, even further than that, my gut tells me that will be our Dark Avengers, actually. And that universe of Avengers will be villainous. What do you think about that?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't know how much I believe of that. Is that you hearing that, or have you kind of drawn
a lot of conclusion drawing, but the Tom Cruise Iron Man thing, solid, like that, undeniable. Undeniable.
Yeah, I've heard there's definitely been talks about that. I've spoken to a lot of people about that.
The Hugh Jackman thing, undeniable, right? So some of this stuff is undeniable, and some of it is just a little bit of like, well, somebody kind of said this and it lines up. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, they are taking a big focus towards the multiverse for the next phase. You can completely tell just the way that the movies are happening. WandaVision's obviously creating a pocket dimension. Loki's going to explore the multiverse. Doctor Strange is exploring it. Spider-Man 3 is exploring it. So it does make sense. But so if you don't think that Krasinski's going to be Reed Richards, then what about the Fantastic Four movie? Who could it be?
Yeah, who could it be?
Because they're making that like as soon as Spider-Man 3 finishes, that's what John Watts is doing.
Yeah, and I think Reed. Yeah, who could it be? And I think Reed and his family will actually show up in Quantum Mania. Not, I think the Fantastic Four movie will be not the first time we see them actually. So
yeah, and I think the X-Men will be brought across through Ortiz.
Yeah, man. Oh yes.
If you remember when they were going down the elevator. there was all the different floors in the TVA, and there was one in the middle that had X on it. And I'm just thinking, that's got to be an X-Men Easter egg. All those different floors look like
different timelines. It's not just different universes; it's different timelines. And one of the things that's funny is, and I've kind of been thinking about a lot about this, is I think the multiverse rules are going to get more established in Loki. Meaning, like, okay, so let's think about this. If we have branch timelines that basically share Mysterio calls this stage 4 symmetry, I think, in the Far From Home movie, meaning there are parallel Earths that share crazy amount of physical attributes. Like, so Tom Holland might actually be the Spider-Man of the parallel Earth to the 616. However, in the multiverse, there are a ton of different versions of Earth in which Spider-Man looks like Andrew Garfield, for instance, or Tobey Maguire, right? And so I think we're actually going to get these rules way more explicitly spelled out than we first thought, because we need, as an audience, to understand, like, because here's what's going to happen, I think, Paul. All of the villains that are coming in from Tobey and Andrew's universe are rumored to have new designs. Did you know about that, right? So if they're all right, so if they have new designs, what does that indicate?
They're not the same character, exactly. Right. And that's why a lot of them have died.
Exactly. So they're coming from parallel universes, stage 4 symmetry, to the ones that we visited before with Sony. So they are the same character, but from a slightly different universe. And I think that's really what they're playing with. And I think Feige's concepts and ideas on this are way more figured out than we all realize. You know what I mean? But to your main question, when it comes to Fantastic Four, I have no idea, brother. Like, I have no idea. That is a mystery. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see here.
And thank you, everyone who's been.
Yeah. You guys are awesome.
Amazing. I can't believe how much it's raising. It's going to make a massive difference in people's lives as well. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Big Stevie with the $50 says, guys, it's time to drop all the Mando tea. Love that you two have joined up for a great cause. Hopefully this is just the start of something beautiful. Okay, so first of all, Steve, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate the love. Means a lot to me. I also, when it comes to the Mandalorian tea, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Steve, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. It's all about this, Grace Randolph scoop. It's all about whether or not Season 2 of The Mandalorian had a massive amount of drama behind the scenes, and whether or not things are, going crazy on that. What's the real story there? I have a little bit of insight that I'll share, but I know we've talked a little bit about this off camera, Paul. I don't know if there's anything you even want to say about that or any ideas that you have, and then I'll kind of share my thoughts on it.
Yeah. I haven't really heard much about the drama, to be honest, and I have asked if it was true, but from what I've heard, I haven't been able to pick up anything in regards to it. That's what I'll say, and I will say that scripts often get done ahead of time before they start. They obviously do get done before they start shooting, and I think if you watch the early part of The Mandalorian Season 2, especially those first couple of episodes, Episode 3 and so on, you can see that they were teasing that Mando would take off his mask. He met Bo-Katan. They clearly got the rules out there and said, look, Mandalorians can remove their helmets. It's just your creed follows a certain you follow certain rules. So I did think they set it up very early on that Pedro would be removing his helmet. And then we had things like when he was sipping the soup, he lifted it up a bit and you started to slowly see like, okay, this guy's getting into it. And then obviously it got to the point in episode 7 when he had a choice of either remove his helmet and get the location of Moff Gideon's freighter or leave the mission. And he obviously took his helmet off. And I think that was very clearly set up throughout the season. So I'm not 100% on the drama. I've asked around. I haven't heard anything. I think the script all makes a lot of sense. I think that Pedro said it was always kind of built in that he would keep the helmet on for a while, and then you would have this big emotional payoff at the end of season 2 when he finally removed it and Grogu touched his face. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I know you've heard different, and you've heard that there was drama on set, but personally, I couldn't find anything.
So I'll do kind of here's what I'll say. I think the macro point here is that every single production is always a shuffle and has a ton of drama and craziness that we never hear about. And I often try to tell people, I'm like, have you ever?
Well, look at Justice League. Even that with Ray Fisher, everyone thought.
Yeah,
it was
he literally
fine.
came out and congratulated and said that I am so grateful that Zack picked Jeff Johns, and now of course the tables have turned massively. And so I think that's a very fair point, is that, you know, first of all, anything an actor says because of their profession should be considered sus. You know what I mean? Always. So, you know, what do you think Pedro's going to say? Like, let's put it that way. What do you think Pedro's going to say, right? Now, I think the thing with this drama that a lot of people have trouble with is Pedro seems like such a sweet person that we can't wrap our heads around him playing hardball with this thing, okay? But I would just welcome everybody to consider that if you, and I've looked at all of his interviews, I've watched everything. I mean, if you think he's put that all to bed, I think you're crazy. I think you can read between the lines and know for sure that he had a problem. But I think where a lot of the dissonance comes in is we can't imagine that it would be that big of a problem. Pedro Pascal would never do that. Pedro Pascal would never, you know, decide to sort of dig in on something and be like, no, and then cause all of this drama. That's what we can't reckon with, right? And I would just tell you that not only is that possible, but it doesn't make him a bad person if it's true. Because if you're the star of the biggest fucking Star Wars show ever, and your face doesn't even get seen, and the billing you get as an actor does not represent top billing on a pop culture piece of iconic work, then your agent is going to go crazy. The guild is going to go crazy. There are external forces that will push you to make a stand. And so here's what I'll tell you. I know for sure that Grace is not making it up. I know for sure that there was drama. I know for sure that it had to do with him wearing the helmet. Like, for sure. Like, and again, we're just guys. We're just telling you what we've heard. But I have to tell you how I feel. I know for sure it's real. The thing that I think Grace is getting wrong is the timing. The timing is what she is getting wrong. Because all of this went down, I think, before cameras rolled on season 2. Okay? So I think she is reporting something that was worked out a long time ago, is more or less par for the course. But what I'm confused by is this Boba Fett Book of Boba announcement. I'm confused by the lack of clarity about Mandalorian Season 3. And now I'm hearing that the next season of Mandalorian will get a massive time jump. Like a massive time jump. And so there's just... Yeah, it does. So there's just a lot of stuff that I don't know for sure. Also, it is not my karma to come out here and try to defend Grace. So that's not what I'm doing. But I will just tell you honestly, if you're asking, I'm telling, she's not lying. She might be exaggerating. She might be dug in on some stuff. Like, here's an example of something with Grace. When the Ahsoka Tano scoop first came out, she said in a video that she had also heard that Ezra Bridger would be with Ahsoka. That's obviously false. But she did hear it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's like her judgment is really the problem. It's not actually the information. It's her judgment and the way she delivers, and that's my take on it. And if it's okay with you guys, I'd prefer not to talk about that drama anymore, actually.
I will say, we've probably already mentioned stuff in this stream that's going to be wrong. You do get told things and they turn out to be untrue, or they get changed in production. Like I said, I haven't heard anything. I dug quite deep and I couldn't unearth anything. I think the big problem that everyone had with that scoop was that she said he walked out halfway through season 2, and that the latter part would have a big tonal shift and be a lot different.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And that is kind of where a lot of the kind of doubt hangs on. It's like, well, we know that for definite didn't happen, so perhaps the other side of this didn't happen. But like I said, I haven't heard anything. I've used Grace in the past as well for a lot of scoops. I think the interviews that she did with Zack Snyder were brilliant, and I don't want to slag anyone off, but we all get misinformation. I've heard differently from what you've heard, and it's fine. It's fine. We all get told different stuff, and that's how scoops work.
Yeah, exactly. And so, when it comes to that, it's like, I think ultimately, and my big thing yesterday on the members stream was, it doesn't matter because this season was phenomenal. The product is what matters. And as somebody that went to film school, there's always a bag of shit that you're hiding from the audience. There's flaws in every frame that you see that hopefully the audience does not see. And there's every film production, every project like this is a storm of consequences, drama, people, relationships, and then you throw COVID into that as well. It's a pretty crazy situation. So I will just say that if you think everything went off without a hitch, that's unrealistic. Do we know for sure that it's going to be a big deal? No. But I wouldn't be surprised if it came out later that Grace would be vindicated at least partially, because if you think about all the things she has gotten right, especially with regards to the Snyder Cut, look, she's been through this before. People come at her super hard, and then over time, it ends up looking like she was not completely full of shit. However, there are 2 big scoops from her past that I completely do not understand, and she got completely wrong. And this would be a 3rd strike for me if it is indeed completely false.
Okay, see, I would say, I know she's gotten some stuff wrong in the past, but I would say that she's got enough right still for me to still cover. Well, yeah, to cover her stories and stuff and say, well, she's got this one wrong, but she's got this one right. She's not a we got this covered.
Very fair. Yes, I agree with that.
No, I disagree with the Pedro thing. I think she's obviously one of the biggest film YouTubers for a reason.
Correct. Well said. Skywalker Arts with the $2 holla says, "May the force be with you all," and #UsUnited. Thank you, Skywalker Arts. So happy to be doing this. So happy to be just bringing all the nerds together, all the fandoms together, and kicking this thing off. It's great, man. Vito with the $20 holla says, "Nerdvengers strong. Have to give to this cause." Thank you, Vito. I appreciate the love, man. Let's see here. Nerd Central with the $5 says, "Got a Corbin Luke saber on the way. Rock and roll, brother. Enjoy that saber." Lar Powell says, "For the cause." 2 excellent channels. Lar, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Drummond Company says, "So glad y'all are doing this. This cause hits home for a lot of people, myself included. Keep up the good work. Heart. Nerdvengers assemble." Yeah, thank you. Micah. And I will just say, too, personally, I really appreciate you coming to do this, Paul. You have a massive channel, and I remember when I reached out to you, you were pretty much immediately like, let's do it. I think you and I are kind of lucky in some ways. We get to just be goofy nerds on camera for a living.
And yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
very, very
and so it's nice to be able to give back a little bit. So thank you, brother, for being here, man.
Yeah, no problem. You want to wrap up now?
We've got loads to talk about. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shutting down. I just wanted to have a sentimental moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And it's good that YouTubers can connect as well, because a lot of the time, you're pretty much just in your room working away, and you don't actually talk to other people. So when YouTubers actually do speak, it's like, oh yeah, we share a lot of common ground. A lot of people end up hating each other early on because they're just in competition with each other. But when you can actually talk to people and stop being jealous of their success, it's great.
Agreed. And I think it's been really cool for me to connect with a lot more YouTubers this year in general. And you're right, like, we do have a lot in common. And it's funny, there are things that I can probably talk to you about that nobody in my life would understand. Like when you made the tweet about the confetti and the balloons for your 1 of 10. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, dude, nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about, dude. I was like, but I do,
I remember having to explain what a 10 of
Yeah.
10 was to someone, and I was like, "Oh, honestly, when you see that, it
Yeah.
completely sucks, and you just feel you feel like you've wasted the day. You're so deflated." And they were like, "I don't get it." And basically, if you're watching at home, whenever you post a video, YouTube ranks it amongst your last 10 videos after the first half hour to see how it's performing. So if you get a 1, that's your best performing video. Your self-esteem is at an all-time high. They actually have fireworks going off in the dashboard and confetti flying everywhere. Like it's a big celebration on YouTube. If you get a 10 of 10, that's like the lowest.
Dude,
that's
they should
last
start
place.
doing like tomatoes
just
throwing at you or something. Yeah, like 10 of 10, you fucking loser. Yeah, like that. Yeah, you absolute
idiot.
imbecile. Like, yeah, YouTube's a funny game. Have you ever had a video, just as a side note, have you ever had a video that you were sure was going to crush and then it gets like horrible and you were like, what?
Yeah. Oh, once or twice a week at least. My views
They really
are. So
are.
up and
The algorithm
down,
is so
'cause
unreliable, dude.
Yeah, I cover things like the flight attendant the other day. That's on about 6,000
wow.
views, which for me is
that's horrible. You should do
horrendous.
that in an hour.
Yeah, I've got 400,000
Right.
subscribers, and to just get
Doesn't
that
make
is
sense.
thing. And I've had 3 days off, I think, since the middle of November. And yesterday I was like, I should have a day off. But I was also like, if I don't cover this thing, then my channel's going to bomb. YouTube is very much the fear of missing out. So if you see a big story, you think, I have to cover this now. I've got to drop what I'm doing, cover this. And a lot of the time, everyone else is covering that exact same thing. And you're just competing against
And the
hundreds of channels.
speed is so
to the
important
point
too.
that-
This is another thing that's very horrible is that you need to get it out fast because basically you need to be one of the first keywords in. You need to have the data in early so that you get the traffic and then it snowballs into you ranking for the keywords, essentially. This is all jargon. None of you know what we're talking about. The point is, and I'll just tell you this too, just as a friend, we have really shifted into a lot more live streaming and subscription based with like the Nerdvengers and like the members. And it takes a lot of pressure off because we can miss a video and we have kind of guaranteed revenue from our fans that keeps us afloat when YouTube is weird. So I don't know. It's something to think about maybe, you know?
But even you saying that Ben Affleck TV show might be announced today, that's already
About a
got me
video.
thinking, oh crap, I'm going to have to keep looking at my phone every 10 minutes to check if it's been announced. And CCXP, I
You sat there
was
for like
sat
6
there.
hours and it didn't do. I was watching you on Twitter.
Yeah, just doing that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And it wasn't good. Not good for
No,
your mental health.
It's not.
The rewards are amazing. You get to never would you have thought growing up that you could do this for a job. The rewards are really good, but it's also by far the most stressful job I've ever had. And I've had a hell of a lot of very stressful jobs. When your job is to be popular, you're asking for trouble. You're asking because when you that day you unpopular, I tell you, you think everything's over. But very doom and gloom.
Yeah, right.
We're trying.
But no, the point is though, it's like it's nice to find solidarity and to find people that go through a lot of the similar things. And I think for the audience, you know, I saw some people chatting about how our content has helped them through some mental struggles and some pain and stuff.
Yeah,
it really does.
means a lot.
Like I think people don't understand that. You know, when someone like me or Paul is dealing with the bullshit of like our thing, it means a lot to just be like, to just come out and say like, hey man, maybe this certain video didn't get like crazy amount of views, but it meant a lot to me. You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff is, I think, really valuable. You know what I mean? And more than money to me for sure.
And that's the only thing you really get to see. All you ever get is comments or likes, and likes don't really tell you, you know, how someone feels. And when you read a comment and it's just like, oh, I really enjoy this video, I really appreciate it. You're like, yes, thank you. There's some videos I've done terribly, but I know that I've worked really hard on them and they've been my best video ever. and someone said that, and I've been like, oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You know what's funny is I ask a lot of my members, like, so the people that like really get into the channel and then they sign up and then they do the behind the scenes stuff. I often ask them what brought them to the channel, and I'm actually surprised at how often it is a video that in my mind was a failure. It's funny.
Yeah.
You don't realize it, but it'll be like, oh, this, to me, I'm thinking like, oh man, this didn't hit like 30, 40K. Like, what are we doing here? And to them, they're like, this was unique. This was cool. I really like this guy. And it can be an entry point to them. And I'm kind of fascinated by that, you know? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So let's knock out a few more of these. Says the Nicotina Show. Thanks, brother. Thanks for chiming in. It says hashtag Deck the Hall of Justice. You rock, Josh and Paul. Man, I'm so excited to be doing this. I'm glad you reached out to me, man. This is fun, and I know we're all pumped, man. So thank you. Tim with the $2 holla says, love you, Josh. Paul is cool too, though. Green lightsaber. Nice, man. That's awesome. Dandrix with the $10 says, Darth Jar Jar. Was this really George's original idea? If so, lay it out, por favore. P.S. In honor of Josh, I and the Nerd Vengers take my money for a good cause. Can we get a yeah? Okay, I'm up. All right, first we'll start with the yeah. Yeah. All right, that's all I got. Darth Jar Jar. You got any tea when it comes to Darth Jar Jar, Paul? You never heard the Darth Jar Jar? Oh,
I've heard the fan theories. Heard the fan theories and stuff, but I've never heard that it was actually part of the plan the entire time.
It definitely wasn't. But I'll tell you this, and this really isn't even a spoiler. I think this is actually pretty well documented. George thought Jar Jar was going to be like the new C-3PO, kind of. Like, he actually thought Jar Jar was going to be incredibly popular. And he actually is on record saying, he's actually on record saying this whole thing hinges on Jar Jar. And obviously, it didn't really go super well for him with that regard. So yeah, unfortunately, no Darth Jar Jar. No Darth Jar Jar. I'll tell you this though, for everyone watching, George Lucas is under a non-disparaging clause. So he will never be able to actually talk about how he feels about the sequels. But I know from someone, like, it's basically secondhand information, but I can tell you it's real. He called The Last Jedi a soulless film. So take that for what you will. JT with the $20 holla says, this is a wonderful thing you are all doing today. Being in the bar, the people need to hear about the Ahsoka bar fight scene. Okay, I'll explain all of this, but I wonder, Paul, do you know anything about it? Okay, let me explain.
I pretty much, as soon as that Mando leak happened and you know, stuff hit the fan, I was pretty much like, right, I'm not going anywhere near this again. Anything to do with Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's funny how the snipers, the Disney snipers, can really put that pressure on you. You know what I mean?
It wasn't that. It was just, I sort of felt bad. But I kind of had a feeling that, well, I got sent a report from Faking Star Wars that said someone had seen the soundtrack for the finale of The Mandalorian and Luke's theme was in there. And I was like, oh, should I do a video talking about Luke
I got that same thing, and I was like, oh, he's in it.
I'm just,
you know what's funny? I actually had a similar strat because I found out a lot about Mandalorian season 2 around the same time that you and I linked up. You know, and I'll leave the imagination. You know, everybody just think about that in your imagination. But I will say this: there's plenty of stuff that I did not talk about because, out of respect for John and Dave, I was like, let's play the way they want to play. You know what I mean? Like, if this is how they want to play, who am I to take these toys and throw them around? You know what I mean? Now, with regards to the Ahsoka thing, let me break it down to you. This is what happened. Somebody on the set of what was then referred to as the Volume and is now called Stagecraft, someone on the set told somebody that told someone else, blah, 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 that they were present for a scene shot with Rosario very late in the year. This would be around the time of August, I think. And she was there. She was using a blue pair of lightsabers, and she was fighting droids. Okay? Now,
I did hear that blue thing, because when I said she had white lightsabers, everyone was like, "You're talking rubbish. We know she's got blue lightsabers." And I was like, "No, they're white. They're white." And they're like, "No, that you're blue. Yeah. You're a liar. You're a liar. I'm gonna kill you."
You freaking yeah. So here's the thing about that. Well, here's the thing. A couple of different things that could be going on. Because that's like let me again, this is real. Like, I'm not lying to you. This shit happened. She was there. Rosario was there. Like, she walks out, she's in the robe, she's got the blue lightsabers, she's fighting some robots. Okay? Now, what I can't figure out in my mind is do they always shoot her with blue lightsabers and then change it in post? Because you have to think shooting with white lightsabers might actually be difficult for the exposure, right?
Yeah,
it might be weird. So maybe they just always
could be Ahsoka, though.
True. Well, that's the other thing.
Could be the show.
Well, here's the other thing. When that scene was shot, the people on the set of the volume were told it was for promotion. Okay? Now, yeah, go ahead.
Well, go ahead. We do know at the Disney Investor Day that the investors were shown stuff that the audience weren't.
Yep.
So maybe
correct,
one of those clips was them seeing the boss
correct
scene.
Here's the other thing that's really interesting about this is that the Boba Fett scene at the end, the sizzler, the reveal for the Book of Boba, that scene was shot even later than the Ahsoka scene. So here's the timeline. They shoot the Ahsoka scene with the blue sabers with the droids, okay? Then they bring Tamara and Fennec back, like, literally weeks later, and they shoot them on the set of the stagecraft for the Sizzler reel. Now, when I didn't see that, because when I was leading up to the Investor Day, I kept telling people, I think it's possible we see a Boba Fett trailer, and I think it's possible we see an Ahsoka trailer. And that is directly because of knowing that they shot promotional material. Because the same thing with the Boba, they were like, we're shooting this for promotion. And they got the throne and Bib Fortuna and all that, right? And so my question is, where's this Ahsoka scene? Is it, you know what I mean?
Okay. That sounds like it was used for the Investor Day.
Very
that
likely,
would be my guess,
or we'll see it in a couple weeks or whatever. You know what I mean? Because So,
I think the blue lightsaber kind of tips me off that it's not part of what we've seen so far, and it wasn't meant to be a deleted scene. That's what I would take that as.
I will also say that I know for a fact that Disney is lying to its own people. Okay, and I don't want to go too deep on this because this will maybe expose some of my sources, but I have sources. I have, how do I say this? I have good sources that have been arguing with me about things I know to be true, and then they've had to say, holy crap, you were right. Disney just told me they're really hiding things these days. So,
yeah, well, Mark Hamill was dead, wasn't he? No, not many people knew that Mark Hamill was coming back. And he was even giving interviews saying, I'm done. Let people do what they want with Star Wars. And he shot that scene quite a while ago.
I don't think he actually shot anything, but he was involved. He probably recorded the audio and then they altered it. But I think they used his face from Jedi. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think he was likely barely involved, but maybe he shot, or maybe he did the voice or whatever. I think we'll find out actually in a couple of days because they're going to show the gallery, the behind the scenes of that. And look, we all want to know what that was. What was Luke? You know, how did you make Luke reappear from my childhood, right? So they're probably going to take us through that. Maybe we'll get some clues there. But let's, I guess we should try to rapid fire through some of these questions. Dan the Man says, nothing but love, always from me, 100. Have you heard anything about Matthew Mercer voicing Luke in an open world Jedi Academy game? Gal Gadot as Talon, revival of 1313, or Mara and Galen? Holy shit, brother, you're hitting me with a lot. Okay, so Dan, love you. Let me rapid fire through this. I haven't heard anything particularly about Matthew Mercer. I have heard big Star Wars video game announcements coming. Massive Star Wars video game stuff is on the way. Gal Gadot as Talon, I don't know, but I'd love to see her as a Twi'lek in Patty's movie. And that I'll leave that there. Have you heard anything about that stuff that he's talking about? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
nothing.
Yeah, sorry guys on that one. But thanks, Dan. We love you. Thank you for the support, brother. Stephen J says, forget watching the Snyder Cut. I want the whole movie explained to me by this guy. I know, right? Paul's great. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Knight 1223 says 2020 has been tough for everyone, and seeing Luke and that green lightsaber was our payoff. Thank you, Josh, and my fellow Nerdvengers for helping me stay sane. Thank you, Knight. And I agree. You know, Paul, I was thinking about this, man. They didn't write that script knowing we would be going through what we went through in 2020, and it's kind of poetic that while a lot of our entertainment got delayed, the thing that stuck was this season, and then it ends with Luke kind of bringing back hope. It really meant a lot to me, man.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of it like that, but you're completely right.
It's kind of wild.
Great moment. And you know what I love on The Mandalorian that they do? They have the ships come in first, so you still have a bit of doubt. So when Slave 1 came in, when Grogu was on the Seeing Stone, you were kind of like, no. Yep. Same with the X-Wing. It came in, you're like, I think that might be Luke's X-Wing, but we've seen X-Wings in the series so far. That might be Dave Filoni back, I don't know. And then it just kind of ramps it up until you realize, and then they're masters at this stuff. I did see a question before asking if they think Jon Favreau's going to replace Kathleen Kennedy. I don't think so. I know a lot of people want Kathleen Kennedy out. I think she'll probably leave of her own accord. And people will obviously be like, well, she was fired.
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing's going to be whack. You know, she's going to sail off into the sunset. Disney will try to make it look like she's the second coming. The internet will try to make it look like they fired her. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like,
if you're at a job and you feel like you're underperforming and everyone hates you for it, I'd say everyone hates you, but you're going to start thinking like, well, maybe, is this worth even doing it? Like, I'm getting paid a lot, but am I enjoying it anymore? And I think she'll leave of her own accord. I don't think that Disney would fire her because as much as everyone hates the sequel trilogy, she's also helped The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? There's good choices and bad choices to what she's done. The Force Awakens was also under her direction, so she's had a lot of duds. She's done some good things.
And it's funny because I'll take the next question because it actually has to deal with this, and I'll spill a little tea. So it says, how and what do you know about Dave Filoni being upset fans don't appreciate KK? What's that behind the scenes stuff about her you hinted at? Okay, so a number of different things. Let me start with this. I know this is actually very funny to me, and it's kind of ironic, and some people might get upset about this, but I don't care. There was actually an opportunity and a moment about 1.5 years ago that Kathy was actually of her own accord going to maybe not step down, but bring someone else up to the level and sort of promote someone. And actually, I'll just tell you, it was going to be her husband. He's a Frank Marshall, right? And by the way, Disney, if there's anybody from Disney watching right now, they've officially started calling people because they're like, I can't believe he's talking about this. 3rd floor basement, 0 sources, just some guy on the internet. Good luck with that lawsuit. So the thing is, Paul, it's address. If you would give me this, if you could give me your address, I will. So the point is,
I'm sorry, Disney,
it's too late, dog. It's too late. So here's what I'll say. The reason Frank Marshall did not step up and the reason that Kathy did not actually leave her position is because of the backlash from the Fandom Menace. This is the thing that's so funny. The Fandom Menace wanted Kathy gone, but because of the way they went about it, Disney kept her longer because they didn't want it to be optically perceived that a group of fans could bully a mega corporation into firing or doing whatever. And so Kathy actually wanted to leave. She would have been gone. Other people would have stepped in. But because of all you loudmouth, slack job motherfuckers, Disney kept her around. That's the tea. Anyway, Yeah.
Okay.
Dandrix for the $3 holler says, up early in the morning, talking about nerdy-ish. Thank you, bro. Mando Matt says, I'm going to move on past that one, Paul, real quick, brother, just so you know. Mando Matt with the $3. Appreciate you. Tim with the $2. I appreciate you. Sam Shills with the $20 says, are we going to get any mainline X-Men pop up in the MCU film or series as a teaser besides Omega Red? Maybe they bring Storm in Black Panther too, since they won't recast T'Challa. Paul, what do you think about the X-Men? Have you heard anything?
I've heard that some original cast members are coming back, and it's going to be sort of the multiverse to keep an eye out for. Not going to be for a while yet.
Yeah.
But there's some people might return.
Yeah, I have heard that mutants are going to be way more present way sooner than we thought. X-Men...
Yeah, mutants will be, but not... Wolverine's not going to show up in Captain Marvel 2.
But he could be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, actually. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, they've got some X-Men Easter eggs that were spotted on set. They're doing what they always do, very, very subtly sowing the seeds. Same as the way Wakanda was in Iron Man 2 and mentioned in Age of Ultron. They always do what they do, which is put Easter eggs in, and then when you go back and watch them, you think, okay, they knew this was happening. But I've just heard some people.
Yeah, I've heard Omega Red will be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and also in Shang-Chi, which is really cool. One of my favorite mutants, Spiral, who's like this Hindi, almost Krishna-looking character that can go through portals and uses a bunch of katanas. She will be in Shang-Chi as well. So there's a lot of dope mutants coming. But I think the X-Men are a little bit further off. I think they want to do Fantastic Four. Yeah. They want to do multiverse. They might even do Secret Wars before X-Men, which is weird. Let's fire through a few more of these. Tim with the hearts, thank you, brother. Republic Bounty Hunter said, I hope Filoni and Favreau make the sequels Luke a clone, but he and everyone else not knowing he was. And the real Luke with Grogu in the Outer Rim with Ezra and Thrawn preparing to fight the Yuuzhan Vong. Okay, he said a lot. What do you make of that, Paul? Do you think there's any... Yeah, go ahead. Tell him.
I think Kathleen Kennedy's still heading it up, and I don't think they'll change it. I think the sequel trilogy will stay the same as the sequel trilogy, one because Carrie Fisher's dead. I know Harrison Ford was very happy with how his character departed, and a lot of people have umbrage with what happened with Luke. But I think on the whole, you can't remake the sequel trilogy at this point, purely because Carrie Fisher's gone. Han Solo's already said goodbye, and Luke has kind of passed on the mantle.
It's not going to happen. I know a lot of people are on this train of like retconning the sequels. Here's the thing: I will tell you,
they'll never play up that the sequels are like 100% canon. They'll always leave it in your head where you can be like, well, I don't like those movies, so to me they're not real. And they'll never. I don't think they'll not remake them though. Basically, they'll leave.
I agree, and I think much like what they did with the prequels, where the Clone Wars show sort of improves the quality of the prequels. It gives more character development to Anakin. It shows you more of that relationship. I think that some of the content that will come out around the sequels, or sort of to bridge the gap between the timeline we're at here and the sequels, because you got to think, if there's a massive time jump in the next season of The Mandalorian, then it is butting up very closely to The Force Awakens. And so I think they will do a lot to make that time period more robust. So maybe you're not crazy about what was going on with Luke, but maybe there was all this other stuff going on with Ahsoka and all these other Jedi and Thrawn and all this other craziness. So if you think about the sequels, it is literally 1 year. It is the first two movies happen within a week. The next movie happens a year later. It was literally one bad year. And Star Wars is so much bigger than that. And so there's going to be a ton of stuff around it that will take the place of the things you don't enjoy about the sequels.
Yeah, exactly. They've got enough characters now. They've set up enough things. The Book of Boba Fett. There's going to be enough Star Wars that you can enjoy them. And they're taking away the focus from the Skywalkers and just shifting to other people, which I think
it's fair. And I also think it's really cool that Grogu will now be the Yoda for the next generation wherever we go forward. And having him be trained by Luke Skywalker is so cool because it bridges the branch between, the Yoda who trained like over 20,000 Jedi and whatever, lived for 1,000 years. And now we have a new Yoda, Grogu, who will live for another 1,000 years and be the bridge, and then you've got the Skywalkers kind of between that. It's kind of beautiful. You know what I mean?
So do you know what's happening with the Book of Boba yet? Because I've heard so many different things. I heard originally that it was going to be The Mandalorian Season 3, which I don't think is the case. Then I heard it was going to be a spin-off. And I also heard that it was actually going to be a mini-series of about 3 episodes that started at the start of December. And then by the time we got to Christmas Day, they would start the proper Mandalorian Season 3. But no one knows for definite from what I've heard.
I think that echoes a lot of what I've heard. I will tell you that from what I understand, a lot of people at Disney had no idea about the Boba show. Now, what does that mean exactly? I don't know. Could it mean that it is a smaller project? Sure. Could it mean that it is Mando 3 and they've been working on it not knowing it was Book of Boba? Absolutely. Could they run congruently? Sure. I think this is the truth. I think they might still be figuring that out. I think that's the truth, brother. They are probably still figuring that out. And I will tell you that if it is, I don't think that this is happening, but it is possible that things are being done to sort of leverage other things than just Pedro Pascal's character being central. You know what I mean? So that's all I know about it or whatever. Tim says, you think there's going to be a new Batman announced today since Ray is talking. So this is funny. I don't know if you know this, but I've been making this joke that every time Ray comes out and speaks to the Whedon stuff, that DC, in order to try to cover it up, just puts another Batman into the Flash. And so basically, every time he comes out, we just get another Batman. So yeah, that's funny, Tim. I appreciate you, bro. Brian O'Connor says, good morning, boys. Thanks for all you do. Hey, thank you, man. Cole Adams says, I'm a huge fan of Kang the Conqueror. So is there anything you guys know about where we are going or what we are getting with Kang? Do you have anything Kang style, my friend?
So he's going to be in quite a number of things. I think Marvel are trying to move towards making, rather than having one movie have one villain and then you don't really see them again, they're sort of setting up these villains returning. So Kang's going to be in Loki. He's going to be in Ant-Man 3, and I've heard he's going to be in something else, but I can't quite remember. I think there's going to be 3 projects with Jonathan Majors, is it? So yeah, they're Marvel's kind of wanting to make, because a big criticism that's around Marvel is that their villains aren't that strong. The strongest ones are Loki, who was in a number of different films, and Thanos, who was also kind of seeded through things. So they're kind of taking that approach with a lot more villains, and they're going to have them pop up in multiple projects. So you kind of get the idea that these guys are personalities themselves. They're not just here for one movie and then they're gone. And that's why they're bringing the Abomination back as well.
Yeah, agreed.
So he will.
And just to add on to that, Jonathan Majors will not be the only actor playing Kang, and you will get multiple Kangs and multiple Lokis in the Loki show.
Yeah, they've got Lady Loki in there already, so there'll be a couple.
Yeah, so lots of Kang, lots of Loki, lots of fun will be had. Let's see here. Scott Strong says, I need Mandalorian scoops, spoilers, speculation. When I say Mandalorian, I mean all of the Mandalorian spin-off show universe. What's going to happen with Ahsoka? So we've touched on this quite a bit, Scott. I won't linger on this point too much. I'll ask you if you've got anything on Ahsoka, but that's pretty fresh, right? We don't really have much.
Just Thrawn.
Thrawn,
that's
Sabine,
obvious, isn't it,
Ezra.
really?
Yeah.
So do you want to tell them who you heard was in the running for Thrawn?
Sure. Yeah.
No?
Yeah, that's fair.
you
Yeah,
on the
that's a good
spot.
point. So obviously we all have heard that Lars could be the guy. But here's one that you haven't heard, and could be totally false, but it could be real. Matt Smith, who was of course rumored to be in Rise of Skywalker, could be playing live action Thrawn. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that it's good casting. Lars is obviously great as well. Yeah, you know more. I've only heard it from you.
Yeah,
so
I don't know about the Matt Smith thing. It's funny because oftentimes I feel like people are trying to, some people just like to spread false stuff, right? So that one,
I got sent a full page of the Batman script apparently that I did a video on, and then it turned out it was just from some John Wick script writing exercise.
Wow. How about that, huh?
And I had to put a video out saying, this is a lot of crap.
Well, that happens.
Sorry.
It definitely does. So I don't know about the Matt Smith thing, but I'll tell you that could be. Let's see here. Tim says Joaquin Phoenix as Doctor Strange in Doctor Strange 2. I strongly feel that will happen. Yeah.
I think Bruce Campbell might as well, just because of the Sam Raimi thing. I think Bruce Campbell would make a great Doctor Strange for an alternate
for
universe.
Sure, dude. He'd be a great Doctor Strange. Yeah, no, that would be really fun.
Yeah, and it's Sam Raimi as well, so that's just what I'd heard, and that makes sense.
I'll tell you this. I'm hearing that Sam Raimi is sort of integral in getting a lot of these people to come back.
Yeah.
Which is so funny, right? Like, and by the way, nobody knows. Well, okay, I'll just say that the announcement of Michael Keaton for The Flash made Feige change what was going to happen in Doctor Strange 2. Like, for sure. And so I think he's actually bringing some stuff that he was going to eventually do in sooner to literally try to crush them, which is crazy. Bill M says, just wanted to give while we are traveling. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for donating this, gentlemen. I will catch you on the replay. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. I love it, says B Stone. Thank you so much. Alex H with the $100 very generous super chat says, I have struggled with suicide in my past, so this is a cause that is very important to me. Love that you all are doing this. Thank you. With that said, any more details on the Eternals to spill? Looking forward to things getting super crazy. What do you think about Eternals, man?
That's been so tight-lipped, everything around it. Other than the leaked set photos, I haven't really heard much, to be honest. Roger Wardell posted some stuff. Haven't really heard that much. Heard Thanos
that's a big rumor. A younger Thanos. I've heard a rumor of even Namor or Apocalypse maybe being in it. I'll tell you that the main thing with the Eternals is all going to be about the Celestials and the Deviants, right? And so correct. So, I think, like Cersei is telepathic. She has more empathy for the humans, so she is going to fall in love with Whiteman, who is going to be the archaeologist that then becomes the Black Knight, and he has access to this thing called the Tomb of the Gods, which will call the Celestials to Earth. And I don't know how all of that will play together, but I'll tell you this. I heard the other day that the director, I believe her name is Chloe, she actually was raised in a culture where she didn't get a lot of access to cinema and movies, and so she mostly read manga. And so a lot of her like framing and composition comes from manga, which is really cool to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. Dandrick says, yo, Josh, you're related to George, right? Be honest, brother. It's for a good cause. Nerd Vengers will finally know the truth. I am not related to George. Geekdom.
But you're somewhat of a
What's
son
up?
to him. You're somewhat of a son to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. I mean, I look like him. My last name is Lucas.
Maybe that would be
Yeah.
the twist. You'd like spoil the movie. George would show up to kill you,
Yeah.
and you'd be like,
I'd be like,
"You-
George,
I'm gonna
you're
get you,"
my
and he'd be
father.
like,
Yeah,
I am
exactly.
your father.
Yeah. So
that would be
maybe.
the twist.
So I look like George. I have the last name of Lucas, but I assure you, that is all that I'll admit. Dan, Geekdom 101 says, brother, you teased it earlier. Tell us the end of Spider-Man 3. I subbed to heavy spoilers. Keep it up. Thank you, Geekdom 101. Pleasure to have you in the chat. So the end that Paul was talking about was the Doctor Strange spell, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Doctor Strange does the spell from the comics in which he makes people forget everything, and that completely destroys reality. There was a warning in Doctor Strange: don't mess with magic too much because it can ruin things. The Sorcerer Supreme, she obviously dealt with dark magic to prolong her life. The Time Stone, they were like, you'll create multiple realities if you time loops, multiple realities. Don't mess with this thing. So Doctor Strange doing this causes a lot of issues, and that kind of goes off into the multiverse of madness, basically. So WandaVision, Spider-Man 3, and Doctor Strange are all very tied together, and that's why Doctor Strange is in Spider-Man 3 as well.
Very cool. Yeah,
that's what I've heard, but I don't know.
Darth Stewie with a very generous $50 says, to be honest, I suffer from this disease deeply. I lost a girlfriend to suicide 4 years ago. Screw the failed war on drugs. I want a war on suicide. I love you both. Thank you for helping me sanity in these dark times.
Thank you.
Who would die in the next Mando because no one died? First of all, Darth Stewie, definitely appreciate you coming in here. And, I speak for myself, but I think I can speak for Paul too. It means a lot to hear that, to be able to add any kind of value like this or like that is well beyond what I thought we would even be capable of. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an honor. And all I will say about the severity of the disease is that that's what this is about, is getting resources to people who can be there for people in a dark time. I think the truth is what we're talking about is making a decision in a state that is not indicative of you as a being. And it's like, I was talking about this yesterday. I said it's like eating McDonald's at 4 a.m. when you know you shouldn't, and the consequences are heartburn and indigestion and all these other things. With the disease of suicide, those consequences are just much more dire. But it is the same concept. It is making a decision in a poor state. And so, look, I don't know how to help people with that. So we need to do what we can to get the money to the people that can help those people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I will say that humans in general, a lot of the time when you're in a certain mind state, you very quickly assume that this is going to be forever and this is the new normal. And there's been times when I've been really low and it just feels like everything before me has been rubbish and everything going forward's going to be rubbish. And it's always temporary. And it's just kind of realizing that moment will pass. It might take a long time, but there is a lot of things to look forward to and hold out for. So if we can raise any amount of money for that, and honestly, thank you so much for donating, everyone. It makes a massive, massive difference, and it could change
someone's life. And, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
Have such a
And the love, man, the love is real. And no, it's I'm very happy to be doing this. And there's a long day of streams to watch. There's so many people you can support, and there's so many people that will be supporting. They're about to crack $500,000 today. The Snyder Cut movement will have raised, after the end of today, over $500,000. And, again, I think it's interesting that a fandom that has received a lot of criticism, some of it rightful, some of it just bullshit, has taken this thing, and allowed it to be a force for good, and done a lot of great work. So, phenomenal to be able to do anything to have to do with that. I'm honored.
Yeah, imagine how many lives that's going to save. And it's all down to you guys making donations.
It is incredible.
It's incredible.
Let's see here. We got a $5 says, thank you for doing this. Great cause. Who do you think will be the main villain in Captain Marvel 2? So the way I understand it is this will be an extension of the Secret Invasion show and the Ironheart show from Disney Plus, and they will actually run congruently, and a lot of those characters will all show up in Captain Marvel 2, which will be a version of Secret Wars. So either the Skrull, the Kree, or some weird combo will be the villain in Captain Marvel 2. You got anything on that?
That's pretty much what I've heard. So, if we're
both wrong, we can come back and berate us. Scott says, finally spill the tea on who Lucasfilm was looking to replace KK. I already did that. Oh, here's another bit of tea, though. I'll give you a little bit more.
It was Frank Marshall.
Yeah, it was Frank Marshall, in case you missed it. Here's the other thing. I would say 90% of the good things that are happening in Star Wars right now are a direct result of Kevin Feige. And I will tell you that early in the year, Kevin Feige, actually late last year, Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy began emailing and taking meetings together. And this was originally just so that he would produce his movie. But Lucasfilm and a lot of people at Disney put a lot of pressure on Kathy to listen to Feige and adapt the Marvel way, which is why if you go back to the videos that I did in January and February and look for the phrase Star Wars MCU, and you can go back and look at some of the videos where I was talking about this, because sources were telling me, dude, Feige's over here cleaning shit up like you wouldn't believe. And it just look at what we have now and think about that. It kind of makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So we only have
a ton of sense. And why would you not want to copy
exactly.
Marvel?
Why wouldn't you? And I'll say this, guys. Please, if you want to keep supporting, keep sending in super chats. We're at $840 right now, which is insane. And so that is amazing. But we only have 5 more minutes of this stream, and then we got to pass it off. And let me just double check the itinerary to make sure I know who's up next. And then, basically, we might not get to all the questions. I apologize, but today really isn't about the questions, really. So next up is Multiversity. So head on over to the Multiversity channel. If one of the mods can find that channel for me, that would be great, and throw that in there. So 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. will be the Multiversity channel. 10 a.m. to 11 will be the Women of the Watchtower. Then you've got World's Finest. The Point Dexter Lounge, that's where Zach's going to pop up. So you definitely want to be watching between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. For Nerds, great dudes over there. League of Mayhem, Real in Motion, Comic Book Debate, The Film Junkie, and then they're going to end off with the Lightcast podcast. And if I know Matthew, and I do know Matthew, you're going to want to watch the Lightcast podcast for a big announcement, I think. So let's wrap. I'm just going to rapid fire through as many as I can in the next 5 minutes, okay? Let's see here. Yeah. Keep up the excellent work. Nerd Vengers have been the highlight of the year. Thank you so much. Hashtag BPeace. I feel that so hard. Sonia says, when do you think we're going to get Young Avengers? Very soon. Dandrick says, for the context, non-Vengers. Josh Sims for Grace. Hashtag Grosh was the, Anyway, putting the Wim Hof method nerding fan breathing technique that's really helped me with my mental fortitude. Oh man, Dandrix, I love that, man. Do you do the cold showers as well? You're gonna have to let me know. Tim with the $2 with the hearts. A Dude Reviews comes in. Rumor and Theory says amazing work. I wish I could give more. Hey, you don't think that way. Tim with the $3 says you guys are all amazing. Great stream. Do a weekly spoiler show, pick a different charity each week. Hey, there's something there. Maybe we'll consider doing something like that. Jeff with the $20 says There has to be a Luke and Grogu show now, right? It makes too much sense. Just really hope they roll with Sebastian Stan and give us young Kylo too. Good cause, boys. Thank you, Jeff. I'm not so sure about that show, considering that the next season of The Mandalorian will have a massive time jump. I'm not so sure. Gotham says, is the Book of Boba Fett season 3? We already went over that. We're not sure. Stu says, so Den of Nerds heavy spoiler and theory have always been my 3 subscribed go-to channel. The fact that you're doing stuff together, oh, that's dope, dude. When do you think... Right, man. It's awesome. By the way, when do you think we'll see Sabine in the Ahsoka show? Let's see here. Oh, man, there's just so many donations, guys. You guys are so kind. I'm just gonna start shouting out names because we're not gonna get through all these. Let's see here. A Dude Reviews, Rumor and Theory, Stevie, Scott, Jeff, a Gotham Knight, Stu, Paul, Aaron, 34 Virgo, Nate, Star Wars Santa. Shout out to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Scott, Mr. Anderson, SCB, Allie, Nate, Annie J, Yins Dema, Gregory, Ricky, Fanjecture, Adam, thank you for that very generous $20. I appreciate you, brother. Stormy, Max Ross, Chuck, Taylor, Gonk. Holy cow, look at all these beautiful people giving to this good cause. It's amazing, dude. So this is incredible. Keaton Haas with 50. 2nd Street, Marvel, Trinity with the $100. You don't have to say anything nice. Just take this. Trinity, you're a fucking pure-ass soul. I love you. Thank you. Jimmy McKay, Lucas Tex, Venger, Michael Olden, Star Wars Speculation. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. You guys, we are currently sitting at $977. Man, I'm very excited to have supported in any way such a great cause. We're about to sign off. Paul, you got any last things for the people?
Thank you so much, everyone. Really, really, and that's going to make a massive difference. And it just, and thank you.
We just went over 1,000, yeah, with Ryan.
Well. Thank you so
man,
much,
thank
Ryan.
you.
Yeah, everyone who's donated, that's incredible. I didn't actually think we would raise that much or near it, and that's you've saved so many lives there.
Yeah, you should walk away from this
well done, everyone.
with
really
some good feelings in your heart. You know what I mean? Like, you should walk away with this and feel good.
In this time of year as well, it's very difficult for people. London in the UK has just been told they'll not be able to see their family over most of Christmas, and I know things are going to be tough for people. Obviously, America is going to be going through the same things. So thank you, everyone, for donating to this great cause, especially this time of year when it's difficult to give because a lot of people are going through tough times. But you're all amazing.
Holy cow!
For
Cuscala Lopez, mi amigo, with the $500.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, dude, ridiculous! Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Paul, thanks for doing this, man. You blew me away with some of the spoilers you said, though.
Thank you. I hope I didn't ruin anyone's day either.
Nah.
The studio.
No, I mean, how could they come at you for, trying to help people? You know what I mean? Jeez. Okay, guys, so we're going to call it there. Can we get a link to or should we wait until How about this? Let's wait until Multiversity goes live, and then let's raid them. Let's do that. Let's wait until they go live, and then we're going to all go over there and raid them. I'm going to make a donation to them. And don't feel obligated to do that if you already have or whatever, but let's wait until they go live, and then let's raid them, okay? We're going to raid them. Yeah, and if you guys didn't know, Paul runs the channel Heavy Spoilers, massive channel. You should definitely go check his stuff out. He loves talking about the leaks and the spoilers, but he does it with a nice, cheery disposition. I've always found your videos so funny and just lighthearted, and yeah, it's good stuff, bro.
That's why I'm
right. Yeah, exactly.
Can't be out here.
Right. Well, there is something to be said for sort of going for that thing you love. You know what I mean? Like going for that thing you love, and I think that's a big part of life, is having that thing. I think that's why people tell us all the time that like we're helping them, because they have these like little moments of connection to that thing that they like, and it can kind of take away some of the other, more negative things.
And it's always something to look forward to as well. If you hear a spoiler, you think, wow, this movie sounds really good. And you're just kind of waiting for it. Because no matter how good of a job I do talking about how a spoiler will be, and until you experience it on the screen, it's completely different. That I could have told you Luke Skywalker was going to be in the Mandalorian, but it wouldn't have carried the emotional impact.
No, you can't. That's what's so beautiful about film, and I think that's a really great point. Is that to me, and I know everybody views this differently, but to me, no spoiler will ever give you that feeling of how the music, the acting, the lighting, the frame, all these things that get put together to make the magic of cinema. You cannot get that from a spoiler, So for me, it's never really bothered me. It's never really taken my enjoyment away. But I know, different strokes for different folks, and that's totally fine too. If you're not into it, I try to give a spoiler warning. I try not to do it in thumbnails. You know what I mean? So.
But it's difficult, isn't it?
Well, also because people have a different idea of how, whether or not you're whether or not you're crossing the line.
Because I did one for the first season of The Mandalorian where I was saying that it had Boba Fett when his face was in the mud in the second episode, and people were like, "You've spoiled the show for me." I'm like, "That's not what you're talking about. That's not a spoiler." It's but I've just donated something in the chat as well.
Nice.
Because I'm going to be able to pop in and out today.
Very generous of you, Paul. Wow, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show as well.
Brother. It was a blast, and I look forward to doing some more content with you. Apparently, they are live, so if anybody can throw me that link, we'll all get to raiding.
Yeah.
We will get to raiding.
Let's go.
Let's get in there.
Let's show up.
All right, where? Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Give me just a second here. Let's see here. Multiversity. It's not popping up for me. I'm wondering if am I looking at the wrong channel here? Let's see here. Nicotina, if you're in there, brother, you can throw that link in there. People probably already threw it in there, and I'm just not paying attention enough. Let's see here. Gotta be. Let's see here. Multiversity. Come on, where you at?
Yeah, Multiversity. I think I've got the link. I'll post in the chat if everyone wants to go back. And thanks everyone for all your kind words.
Absolutely. All right, I'm just waiting for that to pop up for me because it's going to be on a little bit of a delay. And then we'll get over there. Guys, make sure you go check out Paul's stuff. Support some of the other content creators today. And yeah, we'll go from there. I can't believe I can't find them right now. I should have had this set up properly, to be honest with you. Multiversity, but it's like I keep getting multiversity. DC multiversity is keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Did the link go up?
Have we finished the stream
we're still live. Okay, there it is. Okay, I got the link. Okay, let's all right, I'm gonna
I played this city like a hawk from hell.
Yeah, I got you. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna pin it. Replace the pin. There's the link, guys. Get over there. I'm going right now. Let's blow them up.
We love you.
Let us blow them up. Okay. Boom. Here we go. I want to just stay live for just a little bit as we watch the live viewers tick up.
We have 300 versus Dawn of Dead.
Here we go.
Excuse me. In round matchup 3, we have Man of Steel up against
You got a really good radio voice.
Here we go. Thanks, brother. Thanks. All right, cool. Here we go. Everybody's coming in hot. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. All right, brother. Everybody, we are going to call it there. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and how could you not be? And we'll see you in the next video.